discussed as Introduction to API. Myself, Sujiya.S, an Assistant Professor at the Department of Application and Dr. Lessons and Analytical Science. What is API? API is an application interface which takes place between computers who communicate with each other. It is the kind of software interface offering a service to another business software. And here the diagram depicts about the real example as well as the technical part of the explanation. So as a real example, the customer orders some food, the delivery as the waiter takes the order and initiates it with the chef. Once the chef makes ready the dish, he responds to the waiter, and once the waiter gets the order, he takes it to the customer. So this is the real example of the API. The technical task enables a request to the browser. Once the request is taken by an API, it will go to the backend server, and the server will respond with the request of the customer, and then the API takes the response and deliver it to the client. So this is what the API is.
What are the types of API available is the Open API, Partner API, and Private API. Open API is a public accessible task. It allows anyone to make use of them to develop new test cases. And Partner API is an authentication-based conversation. Here, the Partner API allows controlling the access and the data used by the API. Private API is an internal use. As the name suggests, it is a private API. It is developed for a specific process and need to be complement for an organization system. Next, how an API works. A client initiates the request via an API URI. URI is Uniform Resource Identifier. An API makes a call to the server after receiving the request. Then the server sends the response back to the API with the information. Finally, the API transfers the data to the client. The key components of API management are the API design, API gateway, developer portal, API lifecycle manager, and API dashboard. So these 5 key components makes an API management process. So these are the explanation. API design, API gateway, API developer portal, and API lifecycle manager, and API dashboard. In the real-time example of API, a bank needs to develop their own fingerprint scanning technology. So this is done by using an fingerprint API. So the API, the fingerprint which is already taken by the mobile is being stored in the API browser, and that browser is used for further verification when a customer gives it often. So the benefits of API are simpler code writing, decreased latency time, faster and easier, and decrease in workload, and a comprehensive metric collection. So the conclusion of API is used to integrate new applications with existing software systems with increased development speed, because each functionality does not have to be written from scratch. As a programmer, when you start to learn the codes with specific languages, build API and deployment would be a regular task for you, because API are the most essential part of web and application development. Thank you.